Hey fellow YouTubers, my name is Robert, and today I'll be installing a MaxxFan Deluxe roof vent with power. And I'm just going to jump right to the exterior of the vehicle here, of the trailer, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to be replacing an existing manual vent, the one you open with, by hand, and we're going to be replacing it with the powered vent. So I got a little jump start here. First thing I did was remove the caulk around the perimeter metal flashing where the die-core lap sealant was covering the screw holes, and you can see the outline of where the old caulk was for all the old die-core stuff. Make sure you have a bag up here so you can put all the garbage in a bag, otherwise it'll stick to the roof here. But definitely using the die-core lap sealant for replacing a fan is the way to go. So I'll be reinstalling new die-core lap sealant because it makes the installation or removal of any fan, whether the new MaxxFan ever goes out and it needs to be replaced, it'll make it much easier. They say you can use exterior sealants like silicone and things like that. I would never use silicone on this application because next time you try taking it out, it's definitely going to be a pain. And also I had this caulk removing tool here. They say not to use metal edges on the roof, but I wasn't using it on the roof. I'm using it basically just to follow right along the screw heads. So when I was cutting the old caulk off of here, I was able to go right through with the blade and stay on the metal. Trying to remove as much sealant as possible makes it much easier to try to get your hands underneath the rest. So I just ran this thing right across the top here to the end, and then the next step I did was basically I was just peeling, getting underneath here and just peeling the old stuff off the roof line, all the old sealant off the roof line. And it's also nice if you have either a rubber or plastic type scraper, where it can help hold the roofing material down as you pry up on the sealant. So with the scraper I was pushing on the roofing material, and with the other hand I was just lifting all the way along the edge. So this was pretty time consuming, taking all the sealant off around the skylight originally. I wanted to make sure you don't tear the roof material, and you just want to get as much off as possible so it's nice and clean for the next installation. Next thing you want to do is remove all the screws that were around the vent edge here. So take your screw gun and get all these screws removed. I got my one left here. And you gotta also notice all different trailers are makes and models. This particular one here had some self-tapping screws here. Reason being, there's an aluminum frame. You might hit an aluminum frame, the support beam that runs across the trailer. And at the factory, they use these types of screws to go through the vent into the aluminum frame, because it may not just be plywood underneath here. And then most of the other screws in the field were probably just regular wood screws that they used here. So once we got all our caulk removed and sealant, we're able to use a putty knife and get underneath the vent here, which is also adheres down to the bottom. There's butyl tape that they use underneath here. So carefully just go underneath here, and you want to try to lift the vent as much as possible. So once you work your way all the way around the edge using a rubber or plastic scraper, your vent should be free and ready to go and ready to be removed. Once removed, you can see here I have I already ran my power here. There was no power at this location. so I had to run it from the from our control center in the front here. It was just a matter of fishing it through. And as you can see here, this is what I'm talking about. There's aluminum support here. That's why you need those self-tapping screws. You know, there's aluminum on the bottom here, aluminum on the top. And sometimes you might get lucky and you may miss the aluminum, or you're going to need the sheet metal screws, the self-tapping screws, I'm sorry, to go back into this framing here. And wherever there was wood or plywood, just the regular supplied wood screws that come with the MaxxFan are going to be sufficient. So the only thing left to do now here is actually go and clean up all the edges with the butyl tape and get as much of this off as possible, get it as clean as possible. And once I got all this additional stuff that was underneath the vent here cleaned up, I'm gonna clean it. I'll clean it up with denatured alcohol. Just put it on a rag, and then I'll just go around and clean up all the edges before installing the new vent. So, real quick, when you're unpackaging the MaxxFan, it has a protective film right on top. Make sure you leave the protective film, the plastic, on top until you're done completely with your installation. And the garnish ring also comes out here, and you can take the ring and just put it aside until we need to install that on the interior. That'll be your finished trim ring that'll go on the ceiling. So when you're unpackaging the MaxxFan, as you can see, this is the mounting. This will be for the mounting support here. And this is what we're going to need to install on the roof here. And we want to make sure that our clips are on the left and right of the trailer, not front to back, but from left to right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to apply butyl tape right along the screw holes here. I'm going to put the butyl tape all the way around the edges here. And basically the butyl tape is it's just like another adhesive type caulk, I would say, or putty consistency. And that's what's going to go around the edge. On a quick note, when you unpackage the package, you'll find your remote in there and instructions. These are the screws that they provide to go around the vent. Once again, these are just going to be like your regular wood screws here. So if you need to use the self-tapping screws, make sure you save the ones that you removed from the old vent, because you may need them to reinstall, add them to the new vent. Also, make sure you find the four larger screws, the fatter ones. That's going to mount the actual vent to the housing from the outside. And then these 4 white ones are going to be for the trim ring on the inside. And once again, these white ones are more or less like wood screws. And I noticed when I installed the first one in the rear of the RV, it also went into the metal, the bottom aluminum frame here. So when they were screwing the garnish ring, the trim plate from the inside, you needed those self-tapping screws to go through the aluminum. So like I said, every coach may be different, but this particular one was using the self-tapping screws to mount onto the wood. So just be aware, you may or may not use these white ones, but keep your old ones just in case. Alright, so I'll give you another helpful hint. When you're cleaning the outside with the denatured alcohol, and you're cleaning around the edge of the vent, you're going to notice probably that debris is going to be falling into the RV. So make sure you have your bed flipped up if you're working in a bedroom, or just put down a tarp to catch the dust and the old butyl tape and caulk and stuff that you're going to be cleaning off around the edge here. So I didn't happen to put a tarp there, so my wife will probably end up getting mad at me or make me vacuum it all up. Well, here I went and prepared the flange here with the butyl tape going continuous. It's a continuous bead, a butyl tape going all the way around the edges here, covering up all the screw holes, and that's what I'm going to be putting in here. So once the trim ring is in position and the clips are off to the left and right of the RV, you want to get it in the hole, in your 14 by 14 hole, and you want to make sure that either side is equally spaced. Excuse me. So once they're about equally spaced, check your sides, your clearance on your sides. Make sure I happen to have a little over a 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 there. Probably go back just a little bit. And once I get this into position, I'm gonna end up taking my pencil and just make a mark. You can just make a mark all the way around the edge here. So if you need any more adjustments, you can see where you need to make your adjustments. So I'll just have to double check and recheck my marks here. I want to have the same spacing on the inside all the way around, so when I put the garnish ring in there, it'll cover everything nice on the inside. Alright, now that I got the vent screwed down, when you screw the vent down, the screws are probably end up pushing out some of that butyl tape from the bottom there. So you just want to go around and just make sure you just clean up all the any excess butyl that's squeezed out when you screwed everything down nice and tight. Just go along the edge and just scrape it clean, and clean up the edge so it's ready for the Dicor lap sealant to go around the edge. And that's going to be my next step here, is to get this thing all caulked. I'm going to caulk the heads of the screws and all the way the screws, and probably overlapping out maybe an inch or so all the way around the perimeter, so it gets a good bite onto the roof membrane here. Now that everything is sealed and with the Dicor lap sealant all the way around the edge, I'm ready to install the actual powered vent. Just another side note, you want to allow yourself pretty much one tube per vent, one tube of Dicor per vent. I thought I can get 2 vents in with 1 tube, but that's not the case. So luckily I had another tube on standby of the Dicor lap sealant, and this is a self-leveling one, which seems to work the best for me here. And don't be you want to splurge on the caulk, I should say. You want to make sure it's weather tight, waterproof. So a little 3/8 bead around and just the screw heads may not be sufficient. So I just went all the way around the edge and made sure everything is filled from the lip all the way back out past the screws, at least an inch minimum, at least an inch past the flange. So that's it for the sealing, and now I'm going to mount the vent using the larger screws here. So one thing you want to do is make sure, if you have a powered vent, that you turn the knob here and make sure the vent is fully in the open position before installing the vent. So here it'll just lift it up off the side here until it's full open position. And when you grab your wires here, you want to make sure you drop the wires down in the hole on the side that you're going to be working on, or just make sure they're on the same side as the unit when you insert it. So I'm just going to go and flip the unit over now and put it in. So the back of the vent here is facing the back of the RV, and this will be facing towards the back. Okay, so the last step on the outside here is to just put in these 2 screws on each side. You got 2 screws on this side of the vent here, one down here and one here. Make sure the vent is seated properly. It is a little bit of a pain to try to push down on this plastic here. You want to be careful not to push down on the vent itself to try to get that screw hole lined up on the bottom. There's a little lip down here. You can try to push on the lip and see if you can get that in there. But once you see the clip, the hole in the clip, just enough, you can probably just start the screw and then continue screwing it in there. It'll adjust the clip a little bit as you screw it together. But this pretty much completes the exterior installation of the MaxxFan, and we will go back inside and finish connecting the power and installing the garnish. So here on the interior, I pre-ran my wiring. It was a different day, but I put an inline 5 amp fuse on this particular side of the bedroom because we are pulling it from a main distribution panel, 12 volt, and behind this wall here, as you can see, just on the back side of this wall is the main panel here with all the 12 volt LED lighting, porch lighting and awnings and slide outs, but I pulled the 12 volt off of the one of the LED lights here off of that circuit, and I fished it through up and into this cavity back here. So I'm just going to use this 12 volt wiring here. As you can see, that's what it's required for the MaxxFan. And now I just have to tuck away all the wires nice and neat up in the ceiling area. And once you make connection, 12 volt connection, the fan itself would automatically close from the open position from how you left it on the roof. Once you make the connection, it will automatically close. Alright, so what you want to do with the garnish ring, you want to bump the inside of the plastic on the lip here. If you can get a good angle, but you want to bump that lip right in there and see what we got here. We got 3.5, and it generally says you want to add a 1/2 inch. Okay, so I got 3.5 in this corner, and then come around to this corner. All roof styles are different, so make sure you measure all 4 corners. This particular one here, it's 3 3/4. Okay, so we're going to add probably 1/2 inch to that. Here. Okay, and then just come around this corner here. Just check all your corners. Just go with some constant number. This one is 3.5. Alright, so we want to add a 1/2, so we want to be roughly at 4 inches. And then this corner here, 3.5. So, you know, the garnish ring could be actually 4 inches, 4 1/4. There's plenty of space. There's plenty of space for the garnish to slide up inside the track here. Okay, now that we have the garnish cover here, we're going to go and measure. This is going to be exposed to your ceiling. And what we're going to do is just get our measurements that we had. I had 4 1/4, adding 1/2 inch to 3/4. So 4 1/4 is my mark. Once you got your mark here, you can just pretty much follow your mark all the way around what you're going to cut. So instead of really using a straight edge, I just kind of using my finger just to go around the edge here. And just make sure all your marks line up. If it's a hair off, it's okay. It'll be covered on the inside of the vent anyway. So go ahead and make your marks all the way around. I recommend don't cutting this in the RV. Your wife is going to get mad, probably have to make you vacuum it up again. So I'm going to take this out to the garage and I'm going to cut this. I'm going to use a hacksaw. It's got a fine tooth and it'll be able to cut this plastic trim pretty good. We'll be right back. Alright, so if you guys remember what I said from the beginning of the video, make sure you keep your screws, the ones that came out of the original event, because here I have an aluminum frame that goes around here, and we have to use these self-tapping screws. I don't know if you can see that, but the heads are a little different on these self-tapping screws. They're made to go into aluminum, and they are white. So these are the white trim screws I'm going to use to screw into the aluminum frame. Like I said, all campers and trailers and motorhomes are probably all built a little different, but this one has aluminum, and I have to install with what I got. So after tucking in the wires nicely here, I have the garnish ring, the trim ring. Let's see if I can do this all in one shot. You just want to get the garnish ring to fit in all the way around the edges of the box so it's nice and tight. Here we go. I'm up on this. I'm up on the little wire there. Alright, beautiful. Alright, sorry about the vibration here and everything going on. So what I did was I got the screw hole placement where it needs to go, and I marked it with a pencil. Basically I just take a pencil and just mark it in the hole here, and then I'm able to take my self-tapping screw and get the screw in place there, one of the self-tappers. And I already obviously drilled this one, so it'd make it easier for me. Alright, you want to make sure you don't go too tight on the screw. No need to get them really secure. So we'll go ahead and install the rest of these. And we'll get we'll just get the final screw in position. And voila, all 4 screws are set. And the MaxxFan Air is ready to run. My board is lit, 12 volts are good. Let's check it out. I have my handy dandy remote control. And that says off, so that'll be on. And there she goes. I got it exhausting out, and that's running at 40%, which is 4 notches out of 10. And we can bump it up 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100% is on 10. So you're on 10 speed now. It's not extremely loud, but it is pretty loud on 10. I find it best if you're sleeping at night, you bring it down to like, this is 40. And 40 is pretty quiet. 30 is going to be extremely quiet. So that's exhausting air out, and if you like to bring fresh air in, this also has an option to reverse the motor on this one here, where it says in and out. So if you push it, just give it a second, and then the blades will start spinning around the opposite way and start bringing in the fresh cool air from the outside. And you don't need a remote to operate the fan. You can use the onboard push buttons on there, and you can always manually crank this thing if anything was to ever happen. Once again, my name is Robert. Thank you for watching how to install a MaxxFan start to finish. I'm by no means an expert. I am a do-it-yourselfer, and if I could do it, pretty much anyone can do it. Thanks for watching.